Hey, sports fans, PB&Z Sports Chaos. PB, we haven't recognized the beer in a while, but I got a little night shift going on here. The Santilli IPA. It's pretty nice. I gotta admit, pretty nice.
Oh, I love a good IPA.
Yes, yes. All right, let's get into this NFL preview. We're going to look at the NFC North this weekend. Last year, the only division that every team was above 500. That could change this year because the first team we're going to feature, Green Bay, plays the third hardest schedule this year in the NFL. So they could have some challenges. They're going to start to see what Micah Parsons, the guy they traded a ton of stuff for the Cowboys, he's on the pup list. Josh
Mhm.
Jacobs is still on the roster, but he has
Mhm.
this huge domestic violence accusation, or I think he was arrested, right? Yeah, he was arrested. 5 counts against him. So who knows what happens there, too, right? I mean, he could miss some games. So they're gonna be
Yeah.
challenged. Plus, they lost a couple of key players. Rashawn Gary's gone, Romeo Dobbs is gone, Quay Walker's gone. This team is going to have some problems, I think. What do you think about this schedule? Give me your highlights, Jeff.
Yeah. And Datavion Wicks too is gone. He went up to Philly. So
Yeah,
um I you're right. I think the schedule is difficult. Even though they didn't win the division, they still have, they're playing tough they play a second place schedule. But that second place schedule, when you look at the swing games they have, it's Dallas, it's at the Rams, and it's Houston.
yep.
Those are not three gimmies, which makes their schedule hard. This division, by the way, is playing the NFC South, so that's a little bit of a break.
Yeah, that helps out
And
tremendously. Yes.
right, and they play the AFC East, which means they're going to get the Jets in Miami, which helps out a little bit as well. So
Yes.
I think out of those 6 games, they all should win. All the teams in this division should win at least 4, if not 5, maybe even sweep those 6 games.
I would agree.
So that puts them in a good place. Now, I think this division also will beat up on each other. This division could go 3-3 in the division, every team, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's where I have them kind of finishing like double digit, like borderline double digit wins. I have for all these teams. I could see all the teams finishing over 500 again. But
I agree.
I'll give Green Bay a 10-7 record, based on what I see with the schedule. And the under over, by the way, in Vegas on them is 10.5. So that would actually be under the 10.5. But I think it's a fair record to say 10-7.
5 toss-up games for you. The first game against Minnesota, the opening game, right? Minnesota, like you said, all these teams might split. Minnesota could surprise them in that first game. I would not be surprised at all by that. The other one is they got to go to New England. That's going to be a tough game. They got to go to Tampa as well. Although I think they should win that game. That's a swing game. I think if they win that one, then they go to the ceiling of my thing for them. I'm with you on the Rams. They get to go to New Orleans a little later in the year. Should win, but New Orleans sometimes can surprise people. Buffalo comes there. What they do have in their favor, PB, at the very end of the year, because it is Green Bay, Detroit, the last game of the season, but that's an indoor team having to go to Green Bay, right? So not like the old NFC, days
Yeah.
when they were called the Black and Blue Division. And the game before that, a Southern team, Houston, has to come there. So I think those 2 games probably put them. I agree with you, 10-7, though I see 9-8 as well.
Right. And not to mention, in the last 5 games, they play Buffalo and Green
Yep,
Bay, Miami and Green Bay, another one where the team going to a cold climate.
yep.
They go to Chicago, which will be freezing there too, and then they get Houston and Detroit at home. So those last 5 games, when you get into December and January, are all going to be freezing games,
Yep.
which will probably play into their favor.
I agree. I
Um,
agree. They got to
yeah,
go. I
so
think they go 4. I think they go 4-1 in those games.
I do too. I do too. What do you got them at total?
I'm going to go 10-7.
Okay. All right, that's fair. All right, so we got them at the same there, just under the over under wins at 10 and a
All right, let's
half.
go to
But
Detroit next. Detroit won this
sure.
division 2 years ago. Last year, right? What they won it 2 years ago, correct? Last year they
Yep.
came in last, but now they have the
Yep.
sixth easiest schedule in football with an
Yep.
offense that should be explosive. By the way,
Yep.
um, Jared Goff, did you know this? I didn't know this. He has the most passing yards and the most passing touchdowns in the last 4 years of all quarterbacks in football.
No.
I
That's
didn't
pretty,
realize that. That's pretty good. And
yeah,
that
it's
offense is
impressive.
so explosive, right? So, all right,
Yeah.
give me your highlights. What do you think of this the Detroit
Yeah.
schedule?
I actually have them winning the division. And the reason why is because they are playing the last place schedule. So I
Yep.
just mentioned Green Bay plays Dallas, the Rams, and Houston as their three like swing games outside of the standard schedule format. While at the same time, Detroit is playing Arizona, Tennessee, and the Giants. So there's that's your three games right there that they should be better than Green Bay on. In my opinion, I only have them one game better than Green Bay because I think Green Bay at the end of the day is a better all-around team, better defense. So I'm not putting them three games ahead of Green Bay because of that schedule, but I am putting them one game ahead of them because of that schedule at 11-6. And by the way, Detroit does have a game in Munich, Germany, against the Patriots this year, which should be a good one.
That's right. Oh yeah, that's why. So I got that. That's one of my swing games. I got the, and they're the home team, but it's in Munich, right? So I
Yep.
got that as this questionable game right now. It's a toss-up game for me. Hey, and by the way, we just said it when we mentioned we are talking about Green Bay having home games at the end of the year. Detroit's going to go on the road to Chicago and Green Bay to end the season, and I got them losing both those games. Believe it or not, I see them losing both those games. I got them going 11-6. A swing game for me is the Buffalo game at the beginning of the year when the weather will be fine. The New England game in Munich is a swing game. Tampa Bay is going to be a swing game, but I think they win that game. Atlanta could be a sneaky game for them in the middle there. And then they get Minnesota that, like you just said a few minutes ago, they probably split the division. Everybody probably splits. Their ceiling to me is 13-4.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Yeah, they do have that week schedule that helps that cause, but I'll go 11-60. Under over in Vegas on them is 10.5. So um
They
but you
might hurt
have
that
them.
PB. They have a bye, I think, way too early, week 6.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true too. But you
Way
have them
too
finishing what? What's your final? You have them
I
at
get
12
11
and 6.
6. I'm going to
Oh,
go
you have
11
them on
6.
6 too. Okay, so we're both the same so far.
Yeah.
10 and 7,
But
11 and
I
6. All
won't
right.
be shocked if they're 13-4.
Okay.
All right,
That's a
let's go to
nice one.
Chicago. Last year's Cinderella team made the playoffs, won a game in the playoffs as well.
Yep. Yep. And this is what I got one of those teams that's going to be, out. We talk about teams that were in the playoffs. You have to pick five every year that you think will not make the playoffs because that's basically what's happened for the last 25 years, except for 2 years, there was four. But now with the
They got the
expanded
toughest schedule in the league.
and they have the toughest schedule. They do have the NFC South, as we mentioned. They do have the Jets in Miami, as we mentioned. That helps all that cause. Imagine if they didn't have those teams to
Yep.
play. But they're out of division, out of conference games that they have to play outside the standard schedule format is Philly at home, which is no bargain, especially
Nope.
early in the year,
Yep.
at Seattle and
Yep.
Jacksonville. So they're in another situation where they could easily drop two, if not all three of those games.
Yep.
Um, I look at the schedule and I think it's hard, and they probably have the worst defense in that division as well. On top of that, so
And
I'm
by
going
the
to
way,
go.
that's a team. That's a team. Speaking of defense, they led the league with 33 takeaways. That's not going to happen again, I don't think.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. So I'm going to go 9-8 on this team.
I think I'm leaning that way as well. I'm with you on the Philadelphia game early on. New England, they do have New England at home, but it's early, mid-season. So New England could win that game, in my opinion. Let's do the last four, PB. At Buffalo, Green Bay, Detroit, and at Minnesota. So that's a daunting schedule right there. I'm with you. I got them going 9-8.
Oh wow, we're the same on all three teams so far. Okay, which would obviously probably keep them out of the playoffs, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. By the way, the Jacksonville game is at home on December 6th. I don't think that Jacksonville comes in and wins that game in Chicago in December.
Probably not, but they probably lose to Philly and they probably lose at Seattle
Yeah,
as
yeah.
their other
And do they have Buffalo on the schedule? Like, I don't
Yeah.
see it right. No,
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
No.
Remember you said that was the last four at
Oh yeah,
Buffalo.
yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's a daunting end of the season. All right, let's go to Minnesota. Everything with Minnesota to me hinges on if Kyler Murray starts or not. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah. And I think he's got that job. And let's make our predictions based on the fact that he does get that job. And then all of a sudden we see a resurgence of players like Justin Jefferson,
Boy,
like
yes.
Jordan Addison, like
Yep.
TJ Hawkinson. We'll start to see that team click a little bit more, I think, with Kyler Murray there. And I'm making that assumption right now that he's going to be the starter. And this team defensively, too, under Brian Flores, has a pretty
Yes.
stout defense. They
Yep.
led the NFL in pressure rate last year, which I was
Yep.
surprised to see, but they did. So I think the defense is actually can help them win games. Their
But they lost
teams,
some. They lost some guys with Dito PB. They lost Javen Hargrove, who was a starter.
yeah,
Jonathan Allen, who's a starter, and Jonathan Grenard, the linebacker. So they took a couple blows on defense.
they did. They did. And then they drafted was it a linebacker or a defensive back, I think, in one of their early
Yeah, I think it was
picks. But
defensive back. I didn't. That's
yeah,
so. So
yeah.
what do you got him going?
I, so I look at it, and then those 3 games. I go back to those 3 games outside the standard schedule format. You're talking about playing home at Indy. I mean, home against Indy, home against San Francisco, and home against. How did they get home on all 3 of those? And then they're home against Washington.
Yeah,
So those are all middle range type games for me. They can go 2-1 and 1-2 in those. They're splitting the division. I think they can go 3-1 in the South. They could
I
probably
agree.
go 2-2 with the AFC East. So see if we can win some games. I mean, I think I have them like right around 9 or 10. The under over in Vegas on them is 8.5. So they have the lowest under over win total in Vegas out of this division. I think you can go tick over that. I'm going to put them at 9-8, which unfortunately puts them in tied for last place with Chicago. I do have this entire division finishing over 500 again, with Chicago and Minnesota at 9-8, Green Bay 10 wins, and then Detroit with 11 wins. So 9-8 for Minnesota.
So they open with Green Bay. That's gonna be a tough game. I think they can win that game. That's a swing game for me. But then they go to Chicago and Tampa Bay, which I still think is gonna be sneaky good. So that'll be interesting. But then get this PB. Week 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I think you just mentioned it. At Lions, Buffalo, at Green Bay, San Francisco.
That's a tough stretch. That's an
That's a
0-4
that's a
stretch
very
potentially.
tough stretch.
Yep.
Yes. I mean, the fortunate
Yep.
thing is at the end of the year, they got Washington in week 16 at home, and in week 17, they go to the Jets. Those are 2 wins probably right there. So that puts them pretty good shape. I'm with you 9-8, but my ceiling, I mean, my floor, very realistic, could be 7-10 with these guys.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably pretty fair. And you had them at what? What was your prediction though?
I got 9-8. So again, 500,
Okay.
over 500 for the entire division.
Well, all right. Well, this is the first we've done what, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our 5th division, and this is the first time that we had the same exact predictions on both teams. We did. We
Yeah.
had the same exact predictions.
Yeah.
No difference there. Wow.
This
So it's
means
going to
it's,
be a tight division. I mean, the fact that we have everybody over 500 tells you it's a good division, but a division that will beat up on each other too throughout the year. So,
yes. Yes. Yeah, for sure. All right. AFC North next.
yes, tomorrow night we're going to do that one. So,
All right, man. Looking forward to it.
all
Talk to you
right.
later.